Yes, folks, it's John G. Sutton here. Tales from the Jails. Thank you very much for watching, and for all you who have bought my book, here it is, Hitchin Prison Officer. Get it on Amazon. There's a link below here. You can go there and get my book. You've got to read it, folks. It's brilliant. I know, I wrote it. Let me tell you this. I'm going to talk today, a special request here. Somebody made a request a few weeks ago for me to discuss the case, a very sad case, of a man called Stefan Kisko, who was wrongfully convicted of murdering a young girl, 10-year-old girl called Leslie Molseed. Let me show you a photograph of Stefan Kisko with his mother. I think I can do that there. Yeah, you can see this. Yeah, it's not very clear, is it? Yeah, here we are. Oh, there we are. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, that's Stefan Kisko. Yeah, mental age of 7 years. Arrested, charged with killing Leslie Molseed, who was 10 years old at the time. Let me show you an image of Leslie Molseed. That's Leslie Molseed. Yeah, 10-year-old girl. Just looks about 6, doesn't she? Anyway, his defence was he was not capable of committing this offence, and his defence absolutely failed. He was, in fact, intellectually impaired and found to be intellectually subnormal. He was sentenced to life imprisonment at Leeds Crown Court, and originally taken from there to Armley Jail. I mean, this is a guy who's got a mental age of 7 years. Yeah, he looks rather fragile. And from there he was moved to Wakefield, where he was held on Rule 43. But that didn't quite save him. He had numerous assaults. 5 brave inmates attacked him in his cell, beat him up, damaged him, bashed his head, broke his ankle, smashed his radios up and his property, and they said they were doing it in revenge for the murder of Leslie Molseed. Except Stefan Kisko had not killed Leslie Molseed. It subsequently transpired that a villain called Ronald Castree had committed the murder, and he was subsequently found 30 years after the offence, proved by DNA, because they had DNA samples on the child. And of course nobody bothered to point out the fact that Stefan Kisko could not possibly have deposited these DNA samples because he was impotent and he was unable to produce the samples that were found on Leslie Molseed. So how his defence managed to claim that they were defending him is something of a mystery. There's also a suppression of evidence, and 2 detectives in the case were subsequently charged with failing to supply the evidence as required, but the case against them was dropped by the Crown Prosecution Service. This offences took place in and around the area of Rochdale. Yeah, and Stefan Kisko actually served 16 years in jail until Ronald Castree was proven to be the murderer, and he was sentenced to imprisonment. But Stefan Kisko, who had previously been transferred to Grendon Underwood, HMP Grendon, which is a psychiatric hospital mainly for psychopaths but also for sex offenders, and they wanted to put him on a programme for sex offenders, but for him to actually go on to that programme, it required Stefan Kisko to confess that he had murdered Leslie Molseed, because he said otherwise there's no way back. And Stefan Kisko declined to actually plead guilty to this. He said he didn't do it, and subsequently, of course, he didn't do it. His mother suffered terribly with this. I mean, you can imagine her son, who she knew to be extremely vulnerable, intellectually impaired. And listen, if you've worked with people like this, and for a number of years I was working as a teacher of adults with learning difficulties, and you would know just by speaking to somebody like Stefan Kisko that they were not capable of committing such an offence. Apparently the body of Leslie Molseed was found at the top of a slight hill, you know, and at the time of the murder Stefan Kisko had a broken ankle and he couldn't have climbed the hill. But the brave detectives who were investigating this completely ignored it. Honestly, all they would have had to do was to get a psychologist in, and somebody whose speciality qualifications are in adults with learning difficulties, and they could have told the CID there is no way that this man is intellectually equipped to do this. And the problem was that the CID got him into an interview room and berated him to the point where he confessed just so he could get away from them. Subsequently, Stefan Kisko was released from prison when it was proved that the actual murder had been done by somebody else. Big-hearted of the Home Office, that, isn't it? But within less than 2 years, he died of a heart attack. He was an emotionally broken man. Stefan Kisko. An absolute bloody disgrace. Anyway, that's it. That's my little rant for today. There we are. That's your warning, folks. Time to get out of here. If you're not ready to listen to somebody, that's me, I'd be the somebody, castrating a song, then it's time to escape, because this is the Song Dinger. Yeah, I'm going to sing you a song now. It was actually in the charts about 8 or 9 months ago. The version of the chart was released by that well-known pervert, PJ Proby, who likes little girls, by the way. He's still alive, you know. Still alive. He lives in Eversham, somewhere near Worcester. Yep. He's alive, and I'm calling him a pervert who likes to interfere with little girls. There you go. My name's John G. Sutton, by the way. And I'm going to sing you a song. It's originally by a guy called Chris Stapleton. It's called Whiskey and You. Your final chance to escape. Larry's running for the door now. Big Welly's got the goat. Head for the hills, Larry. Paula's there. She's knitting some tartan headgear. Is that right? A tartan scarf. That's what we all need, isn't it? I've got one actually, but my tartan is from the Isle of Man. Seriously, yeah, I've got it. I wear it sometimes. You'll see it on here, you know. Anyway, this is Whiskey and You. I'll do my best with this. Notice I've got my black hat on, because I'm the man in black. Yeah. There's a bottle on the dresser by your ring, and it's empty. So right now I don't feel a thing, and I'll be hurting when I wake up on the floor. But I'll be over it by noon. That's the difference between whiskey and you. Come tomorrow, I can walk in any store. It ain't a problem. Well, they'll always sell me more. But your forgiveness, well, that's something I can't buy. There ain't a thing that I can do. And that's the difference between whiskey and you. One's a devil, one keeps driving me insane. At times I wonder if they ain't both the same. But one's a liar that helps me hide from my pain, and one's the long gone bitter truth. And that's the difference between whiskey and you. I've got a problem, but it ain't what you think. I drink 'cause I'm a lonesome, and I'm a lonesome 'cause I drink. But I don't break down and bring it on myself. It let me out the blue, and that's the difference between whiskey and you. One's a devil, one keeps driving me insane. At times I wonder, oh, if they ain't both the same. One's a liar that helps me hide from my pain, and one's the long gone bitter truth. And that's the difference between whiskey and you. Oh yeah, that's the difference between whiskey and you. Yeah, whiskey and you. I reckon that's the kind of double you don't want again. Thank you, folks. Tales from the Jails, John G. Sutton. I look like Screaming Lord Sutch with this mad hat on.